Welcome to On the Agenda. I'm Bong Young-sik. Coming out from a long period of silence, Korea, Japan, and China recently held summit talks, bringing together leaders from the three nations for the first time in 3.5 years. And working behind the scenes to help make this happen was the Trilateral Cooperation Secretariat, or TCS. Today, we have the Secretary General from TCS, Ambassador 양허우란, joining us in the studio.
President Park Geun-hye, Premier Lee Keuk-chang, and Prime Minister Shinzo Abe met for summit talks on the 1st of November and adopted a joint declaration for peace and cooperation in Northeast Asia.
한반도의 평화와 안정 유지가 공동의 이익에 부합한다는 점과 북한의 비핵화 목표를 확고히 견지해야 한다는 점을 재확인하고
The meeting received much interest from countries worldwide, having resumed for the first time in 3.5 years after relations turned frosty over territorial and historical issues. And to bring these results to fruition, the Trilateral Cooperation Secretariat, or TCS, played a significant role. Established in 2011, the organization has been working behind the scenes for the joint interest of all three countries in the fields of politics, economics, and culture. With the importance of trilateral cooperation receiving more spotlight, the TCS is expected to play a greater role in enhancing cooperation among the three neighboring countries.
Nice to meet you, Ambassador.
Nice to
Yang.
meet you also.
Good to have you here. I know you have been terribly busy thanks to the Trilateral Summit meeting, which ended just a few weeks ago. Are you relaxing now, breathing better?
Yes, so very happy to have a chance to get an interview with Arirang TV, and I think it is a very important movement for the TCS, because through the Arirang TV, we can make TCS more public.
Even more public and famous, yes.
Yes. Well known in the society for the three countries, also in the regional and the world.
I mean, you were extremely instrumental. The TCS was an essential part to the very successful Trilateral Summit meeting. But the process leading to the summit meeting itself might not have been so smooth. There might have been some troubles, differences among the governments. Right? How did the TCS contribute to the success of the Trilateral Summit meeting?
You see, for the TCS, we have played a very important role as a stabilizer and a promoter or thruster of the cooperation among the three countries. This summit is a very, very important shining point for the cooperation among three countries. And for the TCS, our mission is to implement the joint declaration and expanding the cooperation.
I mean, it's such a welcome development, but some critics argue that, well, it's about just meeting, right? Without really producing important development that is tied to actual trilateral cooperation among China, Japan, and South Korea. So what do you see as the most important achievement out of the Trilateral Summit meeting and the declaration?
You see, the Trilateral Summit already suspended 3.5 years.
Right, very long time.
This time, the summit can resume. It itself is a very important event for the trilateral cooperation. That will play a leading role for the trilateral cooperation.
Right, all the head of the states are from China, Japan, South Korea.
So
together in
they will push the trilateral cooperation to a new height. So I think after this summit, all affairs cooperation will be more smoothly and will be expanded.
So Ambassador, do you expect that the momentum created from this Trilateral Summit meeting will continue?
Yes. I think they will give some energy for the cooperation. You see, even in the past 3.5 years, there's no summit, the trilateral cooperation, the steps not stopped. But the summit will give a leading role. And also, I think the momentum will be more and more strong for that.
But I'm one of those people who are slightly concerned about the continuation of the momentum because as the Chinese Premier Li said that he implied that trilateral cooperation had been marred by tensions between Beijing and Tokyo.
由于众所周知的原因，三国合作进程受到干扰，希望能够总结过去。
The reasons that everyone is aware of is basically the Japan's refusal to take due responsibility as for the territorial and historical issues with China. So I would say that unless China and Japan somehow make progress with regard to these issues, territorial and historical issues, then the momentum created from this Trilateral Summit in Seoul, Korea may die out. So what do you think of the prospect?
I think three sides has agreed to face history squarely and advance towards the future. Three leaders has agreed that we should deal the history properly and then open our cooperation. So I think three sides should promote the summit mechanism, smoothly promoted. We also wish Japan side can deal with this issue, complicated issues, readily. So that is important because for the trilateral cooperation, political trust is very important, but the social foundation, the social understanding also will build a strong foundation for the trilateral cooperation.
Right.
So that's very important.
I mean, you brought up the significance of chemistry and trust among countries, but also they are very important ingredient to build up a positive relationship among leaders, right?
Yeah.
And I learned that you were on the site with 3 leaders of the Chinese, Japanese, and South Korean governments, right? What was the atmosphere like?
I would say that the atmosphere was very cordial and friendly and candid. And because both Premier Li and Prime Minister Abe expressed sincere gratitude to the President Park
Right.
for her efforts to resume the summit. And the leaders share the view that trilateral cooperation has been completely restored, agreed to work together to build permanent peace, stability, and prosperity in Northeast Asia.
What's your impression of Chinese Premier Li Keqiang's participation in the Trilateral Summit meeting and the bilateral summit meeting with South Korean President Park Geun-hye? He even made a statement that he felt so easy, right, and natural, as if he were visiting a neighborhood friend's house.
Yes. Since China and Korea are very good neighbors, so they have expanding the cooperation very quickly in all fields. So I think Prime Minister Li, as a Prime Minister first time to visit Korea, he's very happy to communicate with Korea leaders and also businessmen and others. So they have exchanged the view for the bilateral cooperation. So it is a very successful visit. And I think both sides has made some consensus how to promote win-win cooperation and the mutual benefit cooperation in all fields.
Right. Let's turn to the activities and history of TCS itself. You are in charge of the operation of the TCS. And could you briefly tell us about the history of TCS first?
For TCS, we have already set up for 4 years And according to leaders' agreement, I think at first was the President Lee of Korea make a proposal to set up the TCS. And the three leaders agreed to set a TCS. And then I think that's a very, very important for the three countries' cooperation, because that means we have an organization in charge of cooperation. In the future, TCS will make more efforts. First, TCS will continue to play the role as a stabilizer and a thruster of the trilateral cooperation. And TCS should faithfully fulfill its role as a secretariat to provide the necessary service to the three governments. One of the most important tasks is to follow up the outcome of the Trilateral Summit meeting and supporting the preparation of the scheduled ministerial level meeting, such as education, culture, health ministers' meetings. There will be another main priority for three countries. And meanwhile, TCS would keep explore the new projects to facilitate people's exchanges and the practical cooperation among the three countries, and also will grasp the major trend of trilateral cooperation, adopting both strategic vision and a down-to-earth working attitude. So that's at the same time, to complete this mission, TCS would strengthen the capacity building also at the same time. TCS is the youngest regional cooperation organizations and has a big potential for the development. So we also should open to other regional and international organizations, learn their useful experience in promoting regional integration. We should continue to strengthen our capacity building, provide practical recommendations to the three governments, and gradually develop ourselves into a policy-oriented organization. And I think another important field is promote public diplomacy and increase public awareness of trilateral cooperation, especially TCS.
What's the reason for the office of TCS located in Seoul, Korea?
Seoul, in a very important place between Beijing and Tokyo.
Right.
Also, it's a good place to set up the secretariat office here. And also because ROK played a very important role to set up this secretariat and promote Trilateral Summit and the Trilateral Cooperation. So I think it is good for TCS also to expand our work.
What are the main activities you are carrying out these days, the TCS main activities? And what kind of expansion plans you have in mind?
The past 4 years, TCS has some achievement. And I can say the first, provide administrative and technical support to the trilateral consultative mechanism. You see now, three countries have more than 50 intergovernment meeting mechanisms, more than 50, and including 19th ministerial level meeting. And also, TCS also participated in the trilateral consultative mechanism, including the Trilateral Summit and the Trilateral Foreign Ministers meeting and other ministerial level meetings. Particularly, TCS participated in the Foreign Ministers meeting in Seoul in March this year also. It's a very important meeting. And at the same time, I think we can see this year's March, the Foreign Ministers meeting has pushed the trilateral cooperation forward. And this summit, we can say, to a normal track.
Normal track.
Yeah. So also make a leading role and also for the roadmap of the future cooperation. And TCS, during the Foreign Ministers Summit, released a matrix of major events for trilateral cooperation in 2015, which was appreciated by three governments also. So TCS role as an information bank for the trilateral cooperation is such gradually recognized by the general public also.
Right, it emerged as a very precious information bank for trilateral cooperation, but also I heard about magnificent activities for youth in 3 countries, like cultural exchanges or education.
Yes. And we just said we provide administrative and technical support. Same time, we also explore the trilateral cooperative projects, increase the influence of trilateral cooperation. And for TCS itself has been actively exploring cooperative projects and organize varied kinds of activities to facilitate public understanding of the trilateral cooperation, as well as to increase TCS social influence in 3 countries also. Among the projects, we can see the International Forum for Trilateral Cooperation, Trilateral Tabletop Exercise on Disaster Management, CJK FTA Seminar, Young Ambassador Program, the Trilateral Journalist Exchange Program. That's also organized by TCS. They become broad ones that are well received in the 3 countries. And at the same time, we have a network with other international organizations and promote through this way to promote the regional cooperation process. We have TCS have some maintained network with other regional and international organizations as ASEAN Secretariat, EU institutions, and others also. So we can learn some experience from other organizations.
So Ambassador Yang, what's the size of TCS in terms of number of employees?
Yeah, now we have about 30 employees.
30.
Yeah, including the officials from 3 foreign ministries.
Okay, so employees from South Korea, Japan, and China.
China, yes.
But it must be difficult as a leader of the organization to keep the right balance between diversity and unity if your employees are from 3 different countries, from different cultural backgrounds.
Yes, you know, China, Korea, Japan, all are in the East Asia cultural sectors. So this, for the mutual understanding is no big problem. And I think from my perspective that communication, of course, is a very important factor for the harmony between colleagues of employees, of course. And the better communication with foreigners usually start from cultural understanding and fluent conversation. There are the reasons why TCS private CJK language courses to all staff. We have some courses.
CJK means China, Japan, Korea.
Korea's language course. We also start this course for all staffs and holding the cultural gathering on the occasion of monthly birthday party. Also, we have through this kind of activities, I think this we want to close the mountains. TCS staff enhanced the mutual understanding, which accumulated as a ground for the idea for the cooperation. I think my impression is all the employees, the officials in the TCS have a very strong mind for the closer cooperation and to build harmoniously family, just
great.
a family.
Right.
Our mission is to promote the trilateral cooperation. So everybody knows we should do in this regard. So without a harmonious atmosphere,
But it must, be very difficult for them to hide their national identity when it comes to debating very sensitive issues.
For some sensitive issues, and I think all the officials and employees can understand each other. Yeah, because sometimes they have to representing their government ideas.
So civility is required.
Yeah. So, but for our Secretary General, Deputy Secretary General, our mission is to make 3 sides closer and closer.
Right.
Yeah, not only for representing one country, but representing trilateral cooperation.
Yeah, I cannot agree with you more because China, Japan, South Korea represent in combination $16 trillion in GDP
Yes.
combined, and which is 6 times larger than the regional GDP of ASEAN countries. And as a regional economy, it's number 3 behind the European Union and NAFTA. So I agree with you that TCS has great potential for higher level of contributions to mutual understanding between these 3 countries. And let alone it accounts for 1.6 billion in terms of size of population in the region.
Yes. Our 3 countries are most important country in the region because our 3 countries' GDP and the trade volume occupied about 20% of the world.
Right, 20% of the world. Right.
And this is very influential countries. So trilateral cooperation not only benefits 3 people, 3 countries, but also they will benefit this region and also promote the stability and the prosperity of the world.
But economic cooperation seems to have the most upside because all 3 countries share the common interest in promoting that. But on the other hand, for some sensitive security issues, such as the territorial issues in South China Sea, especially the collision between United States and China in recent period, and North Korea with the nuclear and missile weapons. So as a head of the TCS, could you render us some wisdom about how these 3 countries can put together their joint effort to deal with these sensitive security issues?
Of course, these territorial issues and it's bilateral issues, and then they should be settled through the bilateral negotiations. And we don't want these kind of issues affect negatively the trilateral cooperation. But of course, the political trust and the security trust are also a very important part of trilateral cooperation. For the North Korea issues, I think China's position is very clear. And then in this summit also, they have discussed these issues. And I think 3 sides has a very common point for the regional denuclearization,
right.
and also for the peace, stability,
joint
and the development.
Right.
Yes, and also we support Korea's initiative for the Northeast Asia's Peace and Cooperation Initiative, and also play a very important role in this field, I think. And also, I think the 3 sides will put more energy for the cooperation in this region, because trilateral cooperation will promote the regional economic integration, of course, as the most influential countries.
But it sounds like then, even after the Trilateral Summit meeting ended as a huge success, Ambassador, I don't think you will enjoy relaxation or free time because it seems like TCS is committed to promoting more events for trilateral cooperation and understanding, especially among young generations in 3 countries.
Yes. You said that we just said that the mutual understanding among the journalists and the media professionals in 3 countries is one of most important component in the people-to-people exchanges. So we also imagine that the contents producers have some misunderstanding. So we should make TCS well known of 3 countries' people. This is our job for that, because in this way we can promote the idea of trilateral cooperation.
Ambassador Yang, thanks for coming to this program on the agenda, and congratulations that the TCS has made a huge contribution to the success of Trilateral Summit meeting, and I look forward to hearing more of the success story of TCS.
Thank you. Thanks. It's very nice for me to have a chance to get interview as Arirang TV. I think TCS will continue to play our role to promote the trilateral cooperation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. Yeah.
Korea, China, and Japan. As neighboring countries, they share the joint fate of changing dynamics within the region in the past, present, and future. And this is why working together to tighten trilateral cooperation is a goal that shouldn't be undermined. I'm Bong Young-si. Thanks for watching.